Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast update for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. We'll look at temperatures first thing on this Friday morning. Minus 12 in Winnipeg. Contrast that with minus 6, minus 5 as you head back toward Calgary. And Medicine Hat, Saskatoon, Regina, minus 11, minus 8. It is on the cold side here. And that cold air is finally spilled down into the northern plains, parts of the Midwest of the United States here over the last 24 to 48 hours as well. Now, as we look at the satellite picture here early this morning, there should be a lot of sunshine across the prairie. A little bit more in the way of cloud cover as you head toward the Calgary area, getting closer to the Rockies. Otherwise, we should see some just high-level wispy cirrus clouds across the prairie provinces today, accompanying that cold air. You can see all the bright cloud tops here across the Pacific Northwest. I'll animate this once again. We've got a very strong system, very strong onshore flow coming across this region, bringing a lot of heavy mountain snow to parts of the Pacific Northwest into British Columbia. Now, this system will sneak quietly off to our south, bringing the chance for some flurries as we head into the overnight hours and tomorrow. We'll look at that in a moment. But first, the radar is clear as we get started with our Friday here across the prairie provinces. Now, here's where we can look at the forecast. We'll look at the precipitation forecast from the NAM model. We'll bring it back to today. Again, a lot of sunshine, cold temps across the prairie today. Snow begins in a flurry fashion, perhaps across portions of south-central Alberta, getting into south-central Saskatchewan as we head into the overnight. Tomorrow morning, sunrise, maybe some flurries in the Brandon area up towards Saskatoon, and then we'll let this play out into Saturday afternoon and now Saturday evening. Generally, not looking at much in the way of accumulating snow. Maybe a light coating, especially as you head off toward the east. I should say it'll get light, especially as you head off toward the east. I would imagine Brandon, Winnipeg, you probably are not going to see anything in the way of accumulation here. If you do, it's a light dusting. This is the forecast total accumulation here between now and Monday afternoon. Again, you can see as the system emerges here, parts of central and southern Alberta, and then kind of along and south of Saskatoon, the Saskatoon area here. That's where you could see anywhere from maybe 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Still looking at relatively light accumulations, but then especially as you trade off toward the east, looking at much lighter, probably a dusting to maybe a centimeter or two. Now, as we take a look at the upper level pattern that is driving all this, we'll bring it back to Friday morning. Here's our big coastal storm, the one that's bringing all of the onshore flow to this region. It's going to make its way through the Rockies off to the south of our region before re-intensifying across the midsection of the U.S. So here we go. We're heading through the next 24 hours. We're into Saturday night, Sunday morning. Now, here's the disturbance now making its way south across the Midwest of the U.S. This little wave also takes a southerly trajectory. So that's what keeps us relatively dry as far as precipitation goes. Again, we're not going to see any real heavy, significant accumulation from this first system. And then, to your delight, I still do have a 48-hour warm-up for you. As we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, we get another big coastal storm that comes swinging in here early to midweek. In advance of that, we do get some ridging, and that will allow some warmth to build back into the prairie again for 24 to 48 hours. And where we have snow on the ground, that is really going to mute the warm-up as well. Cooler air is likely to follow. That'll be a little bit more easy to spot here as we look at the 500 millibar height pattern. Again, as we get started now, big trough making its way through western Canada, the western U.S. That dives into the central U.S. tomorrow. And then as we get into early next week, another big coastal storm likely with ridging in between the two coastal storms there, again giving us a brief warm-up across the Canadian prairie. All right, let's take a look at the precipitation forecast again. There's not that much to look at, although it looks busy if I just kind of hit play on this. Let's bring it back to today. Again, quiet across the prairie provinces today. A little bit of snow quickly sneaking across the area as we head through our Saturday. The European model, not even as robust or as gung-ho as the NAM is with its snow accumulations here. We're looking at maybe a dusting across southern portions of Alberta, getting into central and southern Saskatchewan. We'll see another lull in between here during the day Sunday. Maybe some flurries possible across southern Alberta, southwestern Saskatchewan late in the day on Sunday. Minimal accumulation, if anything at all, falls from the sky at that point. High pressure on the backside here. That's going to keep us on the dry side as we get into Monday. And then, of course, that's when we get our brief little warm-up here as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. Our coastal storm begins to build. And then we have the potential to get some precipitation sneaking back through the prairie as we get into the end of next week. Now we'll look at the total precipitation or a total snowfall forecast here from the European model between now and next Wednesday, November 18th. And again, I showed you it looks busy, but when you really break it down, you look at the total accumulation here across the Prairie provinces. We're talking about minor 5 centimeter accumulations here across central and southern Alberta, trailing off to nothing to maybe a trace as you get into Manitoba. Now head further off to the northwest, Peace River, Edmonton, maybe you're picking up more like 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, but still no one getting buried here until you head west into the higher mountainous terrain of the Rockies. Total liquid precipitation, not much different. We're talking about anywhere from, a trace to 5 millimeters of precipitation across the Prairie here, heaviest as you make your way back to the east. And then if you want to get into the real heavy stuff, you have to go climbing up into the mountains there, where much of this moisture is going to be wrung out. Now here's a look at your 10-day temperature trends here in Calgary. Again, here's your 48-hour warm-up. A whole 4 degrees for the high on Tuesday, 5 for you in Medicine Hat. Saskatoon, you'll climb all the way up to a balmy high of -4, -3 on Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, snow on the ground, not going to do all that much as we get a little 24 to 48-hour warm-up. You won't even get above freezing. Regina, you'll flirt with freezing on Wednesday, 2 for the high. And then here we are in Winnipeg, bouncing back between 0 degrees, a couple degrees above that, and then -5, -6 in the coldest spots here as we head through the end of the weekend, early next week, and then potentially cooling off again, likely cooling off as we get into the end of next week.